corner instead. Like you say, that hard breaching, it is an essential tool to have here on Skyscraper, so it is at least going to disrupt things a little bit, but you are likely to still get the job done.
Well, here we go, map number 1, round number 1 is underway in this best of 5, and I hope it turns out to be an exhilarating one from start through to finish. Now, on the defensive side, to kick things off is Liquid. With how things are currently going, you're looking towards quite a bit of denial, looking towards the Mute, the Bandit, the Mirror here as well, really looking to retain a lot of map control and make it difficult for W7M to get inside key locations. And when you look towards the Azami pick that Palu's currently sat on, you are going to see her in pretty much every single round of this map, I imagine, because she's so oppressive at creating these Kiba barriers, in case you haven't seen them, big round circular things that you can drop anywhere around the map, and they create like temporary barriers that need to be destroyed at range, not by bullets, but by things like nades, gone sixes, hard breaches, breaching rounds coming out from herds on the Ash. Just a real good way of making sites very dynamic to defend.
W7M then making their way towards the building, certainly not wanting to rush anything, not wanting to give away those early picks, that early advantage that can be found. We've got the Maverick on side from Philippok's going to help with those hard breaching duties. Nade bringing the ace as well, so plenty of options there available for W7M, and we can hear them actually getting straight to work, opening up that reception wall. That's just going to make it a little bit more tricky for Lagonis to play in that area. Was there on the Bandit, so you wonder if there was going to be an attempt to sort of play the Bandit trick onto the wall, but it was unsuccessful. They get that opened. It's usually reasonably easily dealt with. You sat on a soft surface, so you've got to be cautious of what's going on underneath as well.
Feels like the kind of thing you'd see on Clubhouse when trying to open up the CC wall, right? When you have a Bandit trick trying to sit there, you'll just chuck nades skywards from below and force that player away from being able to trick. It's a very similar thing here. Though, really looking at this and asking, okay, then maybe you look towards that Thatcher being along in future rounds. The problem with the Thatcher being that the EMP can't stop the Bandit actually getting to the wall and trying to trick in time. So it does mean that with those nades on side, the Bandit is hard forced away, not just softly dissuaded from making use of the Bandit batteries.
Obvious from Ness playing it very aggressive here, knows that he's likely to be pushed from that side, but he's certainly not going to drop back out of Drum for the time being. Resets is actually supporting him from up inside of Dragon as well, so really trying to draw a line across the middle of the map here, Liquid, and say, you know, you're not going anywhere beyond this point for as long as we can help it. KZ is going to be the one to push in. Will he find his man in Resets? It's the Oryx inside of Dragon, and he needs to be taken down. And there you go, KZ doesn't just find one Des, he finds both. He's going to take down Nesk and Resets, completely gain map control for W7M all the way up to site pretty much now, and that's Team Liquid on the back foot in round 1.
We love a pocket mirror as well coming out just to try and make things a little bit more problematic for KZ, and he is put on his backside by Volts. Former teammates clashing, not forgetting that Volts moved over to the side not all that long ago. JV puts him in the ground. W7M up to a 3 versus 1 here as Lagonis, all that's left standing. Philippok sees to that. Round 1 goes to W7M.
Very solid from W7M. I've got to ask questions there of Resets and Nesk playing across the middle of the map like that. Not sure after that little sort of...
But for me, that was sort of the pivotal point of that round, for him to find 2 kills and force Liquid to have to rotate players around to play on Dragon, for example, where we saw Bolt step across. Just a really good commanding force in the start of that round. Here we go then with round 2, going to change things up at least a little bit more out on the roam, I feel, for the side of Liquid. You're seeing the Jaeger of Ness coming in, we've got the Solus on side, you've got Resets once again on the Azami. Well, it was Paul in the previous round, but the Azami still on the team. Just feels to me they want to get a little bit busier around the map, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely that. They sort of set the stalls out in the last round. It didn't really pay off for them, as we saw with KZ walking in and getting those kills. So maybe let's burn a little bit of time elsewhere. Moving across to Karaoke T. You can see immediately the presence is there over in Office in Exhibition. Herds is going to be the one to come up against that potentially. Herds has had a fantastic tournament so far, we've got to say that. Certainly been putting up the numbers for W7M, and there's one just on the other side of the wall. It could be another number for him to collect. If only he knew.
That's exactly why you got Ness dancing around. We've seen quite a few teams make use of this mirror window, by the way, to be able to stop the double exhibition wall being opened up. So your entry becomes a little bit awkward. It's a single doorway into Terrace, or you're bolting in through the display window, this window right here, as your entry in towards this side of the map, and it's just really uncomfortable. So it doesn't look like much, one reinforcement in the mirror window, but it can work absolute wonders, and Herds has a good read, but Nesk is just better. Had an absolute screamer of a series yesterday. Doesn't look like he's slowing down here either.
Great opener from Ness there. I think Herds maybe wasn't quite expecting the man just on the inside of the wall. His reactions were just a little bit delayed, and Ness taking full advantage of that. Needs to be careful though, takes his eye off the prize. And JV92 manages to step in with what is a very late trade there, leveling things up 4 versus 4. But this round certainly going better than the last. Volps hitting another one of those beautiful long shots that we've seen from him throughout the tournament.
What I love really is that Neska's wasted half the round though. 1 for 1 so far, obviously, but when he got the opening kill, again with minimal involvement and commitment from utility, that's just burning so much time off the clock for W7M, leaving them to have to force a few fights. And Felipox is sure forcing here, like a force themselves. They've charged on through. 2 kills on Lagonis once again. He's in a 1 versus 3 this time round. He doesn't miss the shot. Still 2 more to find.
These 2 teams in Felipox and Lagonis have got 2 of the most clutch players at the event so far. And we see one of them left again, but cut down by the other. It's going to be Felipox to find that final kill onto Lagonis. Diffuser was going down at the same time, and W7M, they close out what has been a very good 2 rounds for them so far, 2-0.
Is at the tournament 5, I think, through, which is pretty crazy. That's what happens when you have to fight your way through the elimination side of phase 2. Constant best of 3s from start through to finish.
Kitchen Barbecue will be our 3rd round here between Team Liquid and W7M. Then in our major Copenhagen Grand Final, well underway, and W7M certainly got themselves rolling quicker than Liquid. I think the Liquid fans, many of which we've got here in Copenhagen, are going to be looking for them to wake up sooner rather than later. You don't want them losing too many defenses here on Skyscraper. They'll be looking to maybe bring this back to an even half so that they can take that attack side and try and get themselves the first map over the line.
Absolutely. Well, so far it's been pretty composed from W7M. You know, Liquid, as we've commented in both rounds, have been very aggressive in their holds, you know, extending out towards the other side of the map, looking to challenge them. Every entry in towards Geisha back in round 1, just trying to really slow W7M down, but they sort of go slow to begin with to face off against that aggression out of Liquid. Once they get an entry kill or 2 and start to open things up, they really start moving quickly. So look for that in this round here as well. They should go pretty slow around Volts to try and control him and find a kill or 2 before stepping their way in towards site, but it's that later stages of the round where you'll see them go very fast.
Volps just looking to maybe aggress onto that push and try and get another kill as he did early in the last round, but it's actually going to be Palu who manages to pick up KZ. The ring around the roses ends with Herds taking down Volps, leveling things out 4 versus 4, and once again, how well have W7M done this so far? They go a man down and then there's just kill after kill after kill in return until they stand in the advantage. Another one comes in there onto Palu in a late trade, and that's going to be advantage W7M again in round 3 here. They are 4 versus 3, but cut down by Lagonis inside a site there, managing to just bring things all square.
Getting involved a little bit earlier this time around as well. He's sick of being in these 1v3s that have really stung him. An interesting pick to play as well, knowing that he's normally a more supportive player on the Vigil, looking more to deny the information away without bringing on the mute itself that we've seen Nescon in the prior couple of rounds. So always trying out these new ideas and seeing how they can upset W7M's attacks.
Herds just going to be opening up barricades, offering himself options should they be needed later on. And just looking to pressure in through storage at the minute, directly in towards site potentially. The angle is not being watched at the minute. They're not aware of Herds pushing forwards. He continues to crouch walk in here, knowing that there could be an opportunity for him to just sneak inside a site and have one of those moments where you find yourself a couple of kills if he looks hard right. I think they're just on the far side of the wall, so it's not going to be an easy kill for him, but he can certainly start taking some serious control.
Well, here they're getting ready for it, the charge in as well. Do they have any idea at this point? No, but surely they hear it going down. And someone needs to react, whether it's to poke off on the flank or whatever it might be. They're going to let him get away with this one. Just enough pressure being shown upstairs engaged that they can't play on the hatch, and there's no way of stopping it. Now it's on Team Liquid to be the ones to be proactive and to take action. Nesk pushing upstairs. This kill upstairs is going to be the most important part. If Nesk loses out here, they're done for. In fact, they sent all 3 players upstairs, Tim. They want him dead.
They certainly do. 20 seconds left to get this done for Team Liquid if they want enough time to disable that activated diffuser. Look at this from Felipox, the patience. He knows it's coming, he's waiting, but no, they all crash down upon him at once. And that leaves us now in effectively a 2 versus 2, but Resets gets brought up back onto his feet.
Easy.
1, 2, 3 days, they fall like dominoes as as W7M don't just take 3 kills, they just need to take the fight to W7M a little bit more. It is about winning some gunfights, which, you know, it's easy to say. You've just got to win a few more gunfights. When you're against Herds,
just win gunfights,
KZ, just win gunfights against Herds, KZ, for Leapox. Just go and win the gunfights. It shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, I think Team Liquid just need to take the initiative a little bit more here. You know, get themselves those advantages and work from them, because Team Liquid are a team that are great when they're in the lead. They are really good at staying on top of people, so they just need to actually get themselves that position and lock it down.
A small concern on that is that back in round 1 we had 2 people holding around Drum and trying to contest. Then you step into round 2 where Nesk is all by himself out towards Exhibition and Office. The only way to really go after those 2 things haven't worked is to commit 3, 4 players out towards the roam, which just exposes your backline and means site can be left completely empty. But it does look like for Liquid there's going to be at least 2 players holding out here once again. Maybe doubling down on what happened before isn't a bad idea. There is no mirror on side to help with the Exhibition hold, mind you, but there is definitely leaning in towards more of the drone denial with both the Mew and the Mozzie on side this time round.
Herds straight away into the building, no messing about, and this could be a problem for Team Liquid. W7M just growing in confidence. You know, they were very cautious first couple of rounds, paying a lot of attention to the peaks, paying a lot of attention to any early aggression. Now it's them that are bringing the aggression. Herds is getting himself into a tricky position. He's looking to be able to push onto Black Stairs. If they start dumping a little bit of utility in there to support him, maybe force that Liquid player to move around, it could be an absolute freebie for Herds. And if that happens, it's a really dangerous position to lose for Liquid. It gives control of Black Stairs over to W7M, and they can start really working towards, you know, a plant in a reasonable amount of time.
This might be a read coming out here as well to say, forget about Exhibition Office. We know they're committing more players out, and you can see 3 or 4 outlines out towards that east side of the map. So for Liquid, the answer was more players out on the roam, and hope to God they come and greet us there, but W7M are saying, yeah, nah, forget about that. We're going direct towards site here. Gage is going to be their entry point they're looking for. And by the looks of it, a couple of Liquid players have slowly drawn their way back over towards this west side of the top floor.
Herds maybe just waiting for a little bit of information underneath. If he sees that yellow ping come out, he's going to have the nade ready, and that's exactly why he's held his position at the minute. Needs to be cautious on those drum stairs. There are goo mines out there. JV92 managing to pick up Volks to kick things off. Ness with a trade, but Herds, he looks alive and manages to find 1. KZ taken down by Lagonis, leaving us in a swift 3v3.
Well, 3v2 with Felipex on his backside here. I don't know if they'll have time to get him back up again or not. He is sat in the corner of Geisha, so it's a bit of a no man's land. You can't just sit inside there freely unless you get challenged. You've got Resets playing on main stairs, looking to help, and Nade has stepped in, found one back the other side. So suddenly, actually, it's this 2 versus 2, and it's a complete clean out. Lagonis gets the closement out of the half a 3-3 scoreline on Skyscraper. You're not feeling too chuffed about that. Again, when you look back at those stat lines that we spoke about previously, really, for Liquid, you're fancying them to take the first 2 maps, but W7M are saying, nah, we are able to play Skyscraper.
100%. W7M have been a team, I'm going to say, full of surprises coming into this tournament, and I'll clarify that because we've known for the, you know, since they made their first major back in May last year in Charlotte, we've known that this is a team that could well be destined for glory. Very, very good team, but I think, you know, a lot of opinions and attitudes towards W7M coming into this tournament was they've had those roster changes, they're going to need a little bit of time, we're maybe not going to see them sort of pick up where they left off after SI, we're maybe not going to see that same sort of run. I think after the first game or 2 of seeing this team work together, those opinions were completely reversed, and people were like, hang on a minute, these changes have made W7M even more formidable, they've made them even better, and they are just rolling with them immediately, and that's just clearly continuing here against Liquid. They're really starting to stun them at the minute.
Stunning is probably the right way to describe it, and hopefully there's a little bit of a wake-up coming in the next few rounds. Start things off once again, though. W7M, I've said it several times over, they tend to really play meticulously at the start of these games. And the funny thing is, Tim, I look back, say, start of these rounds, sorry. Look back even 2 years ago, and LATAM was regarded as the wild child region where people would just go absolutely bonkers. It was all about frags. There was some strategy in there somewhere. These days it's a bit different, and Herds is straight up inside of sight. Sees one for himself and wins it out, but can he spin onto a second? It's 2 quick and early kills, and they're looking for a third. Felipex going nuclear this map at 7-2. Diffuser's going down. It's 5v2, and Liquid have been caught with their pants down, Tim.
100%. It's going to be a flawless round finished off.
You got Felipex at 8-2, and on the other side, And you're looking towards Lagonis as the one who's really shining. Resets, Volps, Palu, none of them really getting involved in the game just yet. And you look back to the destruction effort put on by Volps and Nesk yesterday in their semi-final. That hasn't come online yet. And if you're going to beat a team like W7M, you so sorely need it.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. It's certainly, you know, not to be critical of you know, anything that Lagonis normally does, but if he's your leading man in terms of frags, you've got a problem after 5 rounds, you know, realistically, because he's going to be playing the anchor role, he's going to be playing inside a site. It means a lot of your kills are probably coming towards the end of the round where, you know, the others have been taken out and the site is being pushed. And so, yeah, it's certainly something they need to improve. Volps is looking to get aggressive here. I think he just wants to try and up the tempo a little bit. You can see that Soulless scanner is just providing him the information that there's at least 2 on drones outside of that door, but he's not going to move in to make a challenge just yet. Instead, he's going to be chased down by drones. We'll continue to take them out. That's leaving W7M with only 5 to work with now.
Yes, now last time round we saw this push coming in through this pantry side. If you remember, it was the breaching charge in the wall. They charged straight in and got the plant down with a little bit of support from Drum up above to deny the hatch, so the defenders couldn't play around it and shoot the planter coming in from above. So 3 players really was enough to make this attack work. This time around, they're still all 5 alive. We've got things like the Ying on side. We've got the EE1Ds ready to get called out. We've got the 2 drone-based operators. There is so much information coming. And Volps baited out a little bit there. Saw the 1-man sat on drone, assumed he was alone, but no. Volps was there ready and waiting, and like dominoes, Liquid are falling one after the other. Palu getting himself involved once again, but Tim, it feels like the damage has been done.
It certainly does. W7M, they're playing Liquid like a fiddle at the minute, Des. There's absolutely nothing that Liquid can do. Everything they try, every move they make, it seems like W7M are 1 stop ahead. I don't think that Nesk has been seen on this drone. That could be something at least. If they haven't picked him up in that corner somehow, that could be serious danger, but they do know that another man is down, leaving it effectively 1 versus 4. Nesk is going to have a superhero effort here if he wants to be able to close this out. Manages to find a nice first onto Nade, but then takes damage and cut down by JV92.
This is a real dismantling, like next level dismantling at the minute. It doesn't even look close.
Spoken a number of times, Nesk has said it in this tournament, you know, this is the one. This is the one where it will not be taken away from us. This is the one where we're going to push it over the line. And you just see it in, you know, both esports, traditional sports, sometimes where these teams, they get there so many times that the actual winning of it becomes the problem itself. It's not about skill, it's not about ability. And at the minute, things are certainly running away from Liquid.
They are. Absolutely are. However, we are into a fresh half. Tim has said things can change very quickly once you get into the second side of things. Maybe, I mean, we've seen it actually a few times ourselves across this competition where teams suddenly start winning things out, and once we get onto the attacker-sided guns, maybe here that plays in Liquid's advantage. Generally higher damage on them, better scopes on them. It does work against the defenders. Just hard to call which way this goes without seeing. Looks like they're primed for a jump out of the Shrine window here, and Volps, he's conscious of those kind of shenanigans. Not going to bother going for it, though, so for now, Volps lives to see another day.
A lot of vocal support here in Copenhagen for Liquid. The fans in attendance certainly wanting to see an improvement from the Brazilian side, wanting to really push their country mates to the limit here, because W7M are certainly on cruise control right now. And that's the other factor here. When I look at W7M, I feel like they've still got more to give potentially in this situation. And again, that's another problem. If they're not being stretched to their limit to get to 5-1, you know, what else can they do? If Liquid do manage to start winning a few rounds, what are we going to see out of W7M? JV92, he's certainly prepped, primed, ready to go, looking to get himself out of that window potentially and just bring that bit of aggression again for W7M. 1 minute 15 into the round, and we've got some Candelas coming in. Hertz is going to be challenged, somehow manages to survive.
He should have been absolutely screwed and dead to rights there for sure, but no, as you say, does keep himself alive only just. Volps once again re-exposing the angle. Great shot, the pre-fire was there. And Casey sadly just side strays right into it.
Need to really, as I say, push the benefit now that they've got that man advantage, something Liquid have been unable to do so far. They keep letting W7M reel them back in and level things up. JV92 going to reposition himself onto the drum stairs there, sort of giving up that drum and shrine area now. With a minute left to go, that should be plenty of time for Liquid. They've got themselves access into Geisha as well. They've just forced the defender back. Need to be cautious, of course, of anybody around drum stairs and the soft wall that leads into sight. JV92 is going to pick up a kill onto Parlu. Candela goes in, and really, Liquid need to do something on the back of this utility.
They do. But this is always the frustration I feel we've seen a few times across the competition for Liquid as well. And not just Liquid, to be fair, most teams have fallen short of this a few times where they get the entry, things really slow down and they don't really look to capitalize off the back of it. It's not a bad thing slowing down, but you let the other team back into things. Resets, getting the trade there, which is good positioning from him inside of Geisha. Now into a 3 versus 3, 20 seconds on the clock. I'm nervous for Liquid, Tim, but they find the opener and they get 2 more nice and quick. Liquid finally getting themselves on the board, it feels, with
It is. We're going to rinse and repeat, go for the same site once again. W7M, I think, are going to be reasonably happy with how the round went, apart from the loss at the end. It was those final kills Liquid able to move in and execute all at once, but W7M may be confident that there's a small tweak that they can make. I think burning a little bit more time would have been helpful. They had about 20 seconds left on the clock. Had they managed to sort of hold on to Drum Shrine and just resist that push a little bit more for a little bit longer, it would have really helped them out in that final stage of the round. As you can see, W7M setting up barricades and a bit of utility over to that office side, so it is going to be a little bit about trying to slow Liquid down.
Absolutely. Okay, once again, we'll see if Liquid can keep this recovery effort going on, or if W7M can squeak us over the line towards the potential end of the map. We've seen quite a bit of drone play coming out of both sides at points as well. The Flores. What I've actually really enjoyed this competition is seeing the variety of the kind of 3 drone-based operators, right? Twitch, it kind of feels as taking a backseat. You see her come out when it comes around to needing to clear away things like mirror windows. That's her main focus when she's picked inside of the game. The Flores and the Bravo we've seen as a pairing a few times, and sometimes you'll see Twitch mix in there with one of those 2 being changed out. So when teams really lean into that style of play, that's when things like the Mute and Mozzie really come in heavy. Look back at the first half, Liquid loved the Mute and the Mozzie-based play. W7M on the other side, not even going towards either of those 2 operators, instead leaning in towards playing the denial behind things like the Bandit, but also bringing along the smoke, an operator we didn't really see coming out from Liquid.
JV92 going to be keeping himself in position in Geisha for the time being, looking to hold on to that for a little bit longer than maybe they did last time. Just pushed out to the double door, but cautious of the vertical holes opened up at his feet as well. That's going to be opened up by W7M. It's going to be angles that they're looking to use just to prevent that nade work from underneath, that roaming game underneath. A lot of utility burnt by the Rotero as well there. The barbed wire.
They are so satisfying.
They really are. Barbed wire already gone. 2 ADSs go with it, but the more important utility, Parlu, gets taken down there in an opener from W7M.
We just keep playing this rotation game. I think KZ has just replaced that Kiva barrier once again. So Philippox should be pretty dug in here. However, it's a push-up from Volt, stepping forward quite aggressively round the back of the Kiva barrier, but it looks like the members on the side of W7M have already backed away. They have an inkling that he's on drum and they know, but it's a great swing and pre-fire. Almost into a second, make it 2! As Hertz does finally fall on towards Shrine side.
That's exactly what Liquid need out of Volps. Those are the kills that they've been missing, but more coming from W7M in answer, leaving us now in a 2 versus 2. It's all up to Resets and Lagonis. They need to try and work their way up to get some sort of control over Karaoke, more than likely. We've got already Resets stationed inside of Geisha, so there is an opportunity potentially for him to push in from there, but Lagonis, he's getting a little bit aggressive with the Gemini decoy here, just trying to get inside a site and risking losing that utility, but it is giving critical information.
Oh, 1 being found as well. It's looking good for Liquid here. There's 1 left and they want to pinch onto him. Shotgun in hand, can't find him. They make it 2. That one looked a little bit ropey towards the end. But I'm glad to see Neskis still as fired up as he was yesterday. Spinning around in circles, holding the phones up until he sees the light.
I mean, he must have just seen it.
The best thing is, if they go over to it, he goes over to sign the shirt and the shirt says, I hate bikini body.
Why would it?
No one hates bikini.
Office and Exhibition is our next site, round 9 then, as we see if Liquid can continue the comeback.
Yep. Now, I'm looking straight away at the comp, but think about what I was talking about in the previous round in terms of drone-based operators and their picks. Twitch, very much isolated to a pick, not solely and exclusively, but in the vast majority of situations, it's when there is a mirror on the other side. What have we got on the other side? A mirror. Nade's brought it along. We saw Liquid playing it back in the first half and very smartly holding on to one of them. That's what we often call a pocket mirror, keeping it in back pocket and being able to dynamically set up a second one when you need it somewhere else around the map. So really, Nesk is tasked in this round with getting rid of those mirror windows.
I think if we don't see a W7M win in this round, it might just trigger that tactical timeout to come in from them, Des. It'll be 3 in a row for Liquid. It'll be W7M seriously struggling on the defense of Skyscraper. As we said, coming in, you know, not always a map that we see from them. And let's remember, this is their map choice, top right of your screen. Our wonderful production team puts up there for you who chooses each map. Skyscraper was the choice. W7M, JV92, an opportunity missed there as he just sees the head of the man through the steel beams, but cannot find him, and he is going to be forced away, allowing that wall to be opened.
I love the aggression that he showed there as well. What you saw Palu doing with the impact was exactly the same as we saw the Iana doing back in the first half. But rather than just letting it go without any form of contest, we see the step across to try and take him down as he's holding the angle, ready to fire in the second. A really good read, I think, into that kind of play and looking to get a kill in response. If it works out, the man's a genius.
Certainly is. We've got the Lion of Resets upstairs, just getting off the drones now, looking to progress that push across the top floor. Red Ping's coming out constantly, but no idea about Philippox on the drum stairs. Going to be cut down and leave Liquid at a disadvantage. Remember, this is not a round they want to lose. One more, and W7M have got a map point opportunity.
They do. KZ at least looking around Shrine here with the ability to step back and forth with the use of these keeper barriers. Still 2 in back pocket, it's worth noting. They can be redeployed even if we see any attempts at removing them come through. Limited utility on the side of Liquid for that. Selmas, you're not really going to commit towards it because you can shoot them off. And that just leaves the sole impact in the back pocket of Palu to make something happen. Volt starts off the fragging though, down goes the Bandit as Nesk finds himself in a 1v1 but gets sideswiped out there by the Azami of KZ.
It's going to be 3 versus 3 with no real advantage either way. W7M just trying to hold on, but Volps has got himself inside a sight. He's using those Candelas. Philippox completely white flashed at the minute. Hurge tries with the knife from underneath, but he's just a second or two too soon and doesn't find his man. Volps continues the challenge from inside a sight. He manages to find 1, 3 versus 2 now. Advantage Liquid, but the time is ticking away. There's 20 seconds left to go. Lagonis really needs to think about sticking this diffuser. He's halfway through. He's going to try to hold on. It will be there. The cover was in place. Palu 1, but not 2. As Hertz, he starts the retake.
It's another really tense retake. We keep coming to these 1v2 situations time after time. He's not really looking at the floor, and Bolts gets the shutdown. Tim, 2 halves to a game of Siege, and Liquid have won 3 back-to-back. And unsurprisingly, I even said this in round 6.
W7M have had their opportunity. We are, in fact, back into map. It's going to be round 10. It's going to be Karaoke and T once again. A site that we've actually seen so far twice from W7M. Round 7, round 8. Lost both of them, but a considerably different setup this time, Des.
It's a really interesting mirror they've got coming out here. My main concern to it is it's very exposed from both Shrine and from Drum. So W7M are going to have to, they're going to have to really aggressively hold both Drum and Shrine side, which could lead to a bit of a overcommittal on utility on that side. I would have expected to see a shield going down. Maybe Nate with it in back pocket will deploy that up towards Shrine side, one of the more standard ones that we see. Or he puts it on Black Stairs looking up towards Shrine balcony. But if I'm looking at this as the attacking side of the team, look it, I'm just saying, you know what? Forget about Drum, forget about Shrine. Why don't we just go in through Geisha? And that may yet be the hit that we see. Once again, this single reinforcement with the mirror window on it, by the way, is here, but it's the cheekiness of Herds playing right up against the soft wall, hoping to find someone when they rappel up here, which could be the play.
Out goes the Nitro, going to be a little bit too soon though. That will not find its mark.
Look at this up.
It gives up that utility. I mean. Mirror window cleared out though, as you said. There's very perilous position for that gadgetry, for that utility, and W7M just giving a reasonable advantage to Liquid now with that line of sight available all the way through the bomb side.
They just have no idea. I think they're losing this utility. That the mute jammer's gone. If he gets another mirror window here, this is unbelievable. There we go. Hertz does spin at the right time and destroy the shock drone.
They must have a good idea now if they are not currently aware that the other one is gone though. But certainly fighting with their lives to keep a hold of the one looking onto the potential breach into office. Volps is looking to pressure that side of the map. Liquid not in yet, and they're just not rushing, Des. I like this. You know, they're taking their time, they're making sure the drones are going in, that they've got each step done before they try to push to the next.
Jammed out on the below though, the mute denying everything away, and they can't get in with the shock drone. That's also been disabled. So they're going to have to try and force this a different way, or just accept they're not going to get that VIP wall opened up. Unless maybe they can nade him from below. They have got that in back pocket, but this is a real smart play coming out again. There's challenge downstairs from W7M, trying to keep Liquid at bay on the downstairs so they can't make use of Palu's nades.
Yep, utility is being used here from Team Liquid, literally just to try and get inside of the building, let alone actually facilitate anything to happen on site. Felipox manages to get the opener onto Volps, who again has had a little bit of an up and down game so far, but Palu and Resets, they managed to find one apiece, and this is the danger of this Team Liquid site. You take one down, but there are still more serious threats as Nesk, he manages to find Felipox, and this could be Liquid about to tie things up on Skyscraper.
It's happening, Tim. They're bringing it back from the brink. That 5-1 up to 5-5 looks to be all but locked in unless they really mess things up in this last 45 seconds. First one found out by Herds, but it gives away the information on where he is. These last three players should know. Herds rounds one at nice and close, can't quite finish off his man, and Herds will do all he can here. He can force a 1 versus 1, can't find his man. 4 rounds on the bounce, and Liquid have brought things square.
Well, we wondered at what point Liquid were going to wake up, Des. They woke up at the side switch, and we could be seeing Team Liquid run back this map the whole way. It is still possible. It was a 5-1 half to W7M in the first half, and Liquid right Charlotte, and they've had expectations around this team ever since. You know, especially reaching the grand final at an SI, you feel like they're a team that can and should win something, and you just wonder, when you start getting reeled back in on a map like this, how much does that play into the minds of the players?
Absolutely. Whew. Real scream turning up here, Tim. I thought for the first 6 rounds, also I imagine most of you watching at home or in the audience thought this one might just be done and dusted, but real interesting bounce back. Small difference in strategy here compared to what you saw in the first half from Liquid 2. The Mute and the Solis on side for W7M. So where we saw a little bit of Mute Mozzie, but primarily just Mute by itself out of Liquid. KZ's doubling down on the Mute here, not with the Mozzie, but with the Solis instead to help sniff out these drones. Of course, more impactful than just hunting down the drones themselves is knowing where they're coming from. What areas of the map are Team Liquid trying to drone out? Where do they want to start this push? Where do they want to send an entry player in? I mean, you can't really be doing that if you're going down too early, Tim. It's not been the map for KZ. 1 of 4 he currently sits at, Tim. Not the performance that we're used to from him.
No, very quiet so far. And what I like, I've got to raise the fact that we commented how Lagonis was leading the way in frags. He's continued to do that for his team, but the others are stepping up around him now. Volts on 8, Palu on 7, Nesk on 7, all starting to just catch up a little bit here. And that's the difference, really, that you see in between these two teams, where they're stepping up, as you say. KZ's still struggling a little bit here. Just the 1 kill. They're more reliant, W7M, on Felipox winning those rounds, on getting those frags, and if he has a quiet one, then it's a problem.
Absolutely. And he's in a good spot here to do some... Oh. I thought for a second we were going to see a knife coming out, but no. Little spray to the head turns out to be more than enough. Who would have thought it?
Herds, after getting that kill, is going to retreat back into his position behind the shield at Shrine and just try to hold on for as long as possible.
Oh,
what a reaction from Felipox. I've just picked up on him saying you can't keep relying on him for all these frags, but
turns out you
whilst he delivers, you keep relying, because that puts him up onto 14 so far in the game now, and what an absolute beauty. It was almost casual, that kill.
I mean, quite literally looked like it with the first one, the second a little bit of a different story. Liquid for that first time finding themselves down in numbers, and it feels like with how things have gone, 40 seconds on the clock, it might get a little bit ropey. Herds has worked his way up, sees one inside a Geisha, but misses the critical shots. Resets, given a second lease of life here as well, the ability to make something happen. Just going to drop in with the flash on backside as well. Not quite aware that his teammate was coming in behind him and looks the wrong way. Isn't prepped for the challenge to come out of nade. Nesk gets one back, but it's a 1 versus 3. Make it a 1 versus 2 for Nesk. It'll have to be a 4K to close things out here, but he's only got 15 seconds to play with. Tim, it's not going to happen. W7M move us up to match. Few teams, to be fair, at the competition is you go down and look at who's played what ops throughout the competition. Some of them, like I think on most teams, 2 players have Iana as their most played operator. They're always rotating around who's playing what on given sites. So long gone are the days where someone's just to go to Ash main and that's all they play. There is a lot more variation and, dare I say, creativity coming out from teams. Makes you hard to predict because where, you know, KZ might prefer a particular route or place to play on the Soul, it's Herd for someone else. And it just keeps you guessing and asking questions all the time. It's not predictable to play against.
Certainly does. Liquid have had the answers for the last couple of rounds, but not there in round 11. W7M's opportunity now. It's office and exhibition that they're going to be defending. This could be the end of Skyscraper, or it could be the start of overtime. It all depends how the next 2 minutes 40 goes. Liquid getting themselves up to the line of the building. Plenty of attention being paid to those drones. Information game, as we've said. JV92 just trying to play with the bandit underneath there, being supported by the Azami, but that's cleared out, and that's going to be the floor opened underneath, which in turn will allow that wall to be open.
He was thinking about trying to go for a deny there. I think he spotted a player through the bars on the downstairs who, this time round, Parley wasn't stood dead still, not expecting to get sprayed. This time round, he did expect the challenge and kept himself safe, but still enough that he was able to do at least a little bit of damage. His bandit battery's now going down on the office double wall, so maybe there's some work to do from below here for Liquid to get that one rooted away. Got to say to him, I do find it really interesting. We've seen Bandit in quite a few rounds, but not once have I seen Thatcher on the board.
No, this is it. You know, you'd be forgiven for thinking if you've tuned in like, that Thatcher was banned out, as, you know, is not uncommon. But no, Thatcher is available. But to be honest, they've been able to work around the denial pretty easily. So, again, just choosing to bring additional utility.
That's it. Zofia and Iana have been enough with the nades and the impacts coming in 100%. I just forget with the amount that we're seeing things like the Mutant Mozzie as well, that it kind of says, actually, you know what, bringing along the EMPs, it's more for just a bandit. It's more than that we can make it work with. Just neither team have opted into it just yet.
You can see Herd's doing a lot of work underneath here with the Solus. You know, many options when it comes to that gadget. It's not just about feeding information back into your team, it's about denying it to the enemy. 5 drones taken down so far. So Liquid just at a point of maybe being
what a C4.
Starved of information and starved of life as JV92 manages to get a nitro, and that could be a step in the right direction for W7M.
Fleetbox is just planted waiting on the house stairs on that warden as well, of course, with the gadget. Can ignore any flashes that come on through. It expires here. Resets is in. Almost fluffs his kill. Spins for the second and can't find his man. 2 quick kills coming for Liquid here until we could be on the way to overtime. Nate misses, but gets the knife on resets. It's down to a 1v2. Nesk has got it all to do. Spins for the one.